Hey guys, Charles with Team RW here with
Sathe.
And what you do?
I just got a top 8 at the Columbus Regional with Paleo.
And how long has it been since you played?
That last regional I topped that you guys posted on the video.
About 6 months ago?
Yeah, and then I think I've done like 2 locals in preparation for regional since then. But
Jesus, so just frogs are just your thing, man.
yeah, dude, back at it with the frogs.
Alright, let's get into it.
So the frog engine has been standard as long as this deck's existed. 332. Duke's probably the best one, honestly. It has the most utility. We kept the spellbook engine, 222. So like I said last time, you need a way to plus in this deck besides the actual engine, because every Paleo is inherently a neg 1 except for Oleanoids, which is a 1-for-1, and so this deck really can't plus, unlike a lot of other decks which just plus for no reason, like Trickstar Summon Candina is a +2 once you search a field spell and search again, Pendulum's plus off Astrograph, and then Draco's plusing every time they pop a card with Diagram, so you need other smaller engines to plus with this deck.
Good.
And here's the other plus. So tons of times I would resolve Blue Boy plus this turn 1, and I'd end with 7 cards. You know, set 5, set a frog, and then another card to pitch off like Karma Cut in hand or something. That's it for the spells and monsters. And then for the Paleos, this is kind of standard-ish. I've always played 3-3-1. I used to play 1 Dinomischus, and I kind of still like 1, but the meta kind of calls for 2 right now because obviously it's really great against Pendulums. It's also really good against Draco. You need to hit their spells and traps, but it's also really important to hit Diagram with Oleanoids. So I think you had to play 2, especially I expected to see a lot of Altergeist today just because it's a new deck and I knew people would want to try it out. Great against Altergeist also. And then we play the Solemn Brigade, which is just, these cards are all insane. When you go first with this deck, it's kind of like having a Pendulum board. You know, you open Toad and like these, and it's 2, 3, 4 negates that you start off with, which is crazy. We all know Strike's amazing. And then these cards are like single-handedly the reason my deck stands a chance against Draco, even going first, because you notice I'm not playing Kaijus in the main. They're really good against Draco and only Draco, and they're good going second against Draco. They're just bad most of the time, so I took them out of the main, but even going first against Draco, normally if they drop a Masterpiece on you, it's unaffected by trap monsters and you don't have an out, you lose. But the thing is, you saw I was playing 3 of the MST and then 2 of the Karma Cut, and you also seen a little bit I'm playing Heavy Storm Duster. So when I go first, they are never resolving a Diagram. So what ends up happening at that point is they have to search the Masterpiece, or they have to hard draw the Masterpiece, which is a 2 of. So for just as many Masterpieces they have to draw, I have these cards to draw also, and it's just the game at that point, which I did end up drawing them against the 2 Draco I played. I 2-0 both of them, and I resolved Judgment on a Masterpiece twice and 2 warnings on Masterpiece. And even going second against Draco, it's super important. Game 1, they don't know what you're playing, and they never just blind summon a Masterpiece. It's generally Diagram, Maiden, set however many they have, and they rely on you activating a card to search off Maiden, and then they'll tribute the Masterpiece. But in this deck, we're not going to do that if they have a Maiden, because then we'll auto-lose. We're just going to like set 5, and then on their next turn, they realize, oh, he's playing a heavy back row deck. They probably know it's Paleo. They'll search the Masterpiece, and then they'll try to summon it. But then if we have these, like I said, going second, it's just as much of a blowout. You stop the Masterpiece, and then you have a chance to stay in the game.
All right.
And then this card is probably one of the best things to happen to Paleo in a while. It's good in every deck, but in Paleo especially, because I've always hated hand traps in this deck. I never liked manning them, unless that hand trap is actually a trap, which is really cool. And going first, it's great too. If the negating spells and traps in the column is actually insane, you just set this, and in my deck, I'm always setting 5, so my opponent can't like play around this. Whereas against other decks, if they have 1 face down, you're not going to activate your spell and traps in that column because it might be an infinite. But when I set 5, they can't play around that, and I think on 3 separate occasions, I was able to just infinite a random monster on their side of the field, lock down the column, and attack for game because they didn't have that 1 back row that I locked down. So that card was crazy. And then for the 2 of more generic traps, I played 2 Rivalry, 2 Torrential, and 2 Heavy. This card is like, it is really good, but for me it was just really bad all day. 8 out of 9 matchups I played, it was completely dead. The first 3 rounds, I actually played against 3 dinosaurs. That was really weird, but it was completely dead against them. It was completely dead against the 2 True Draco I played. It was completely dead against the 2 Altergeist that I played. And it was dead against the Trickstar that I played. The only matchup it was good against was the 1 Pendulum I played. You should probably play it going forward because it's good against the best deck Pendulums, but just today, or for the regional, was really bad. This card was pretty good. It's good against Pendulums. It's okay against Trickstar. It's really good if you can hit their goat plays when they try to make plays with Scapegoat. It's pretty bad against Draco. It's not so good against Altergeist, and it would have been really good if I played against Gokis, but I didn't play any of those. And then this was kind of like a last-minute decision. I was actually playing 3-3. But like I said, they have certain matchups where they're not very good against, and I didn't want 6 potentially bad cards against certain matchups. So I put Duster in, which like covered a lot of ground. It was really good against Pendulum, obviously. It's good against Dracos. Like I said, we have to pop the diagram if we want to win that game. It's really good against Trickstar. They're always setting lots of back row. Crazy against Altergeist. I played 2 Altergeist, which is the craziest grind game. It's almost like a mirror match. And this definitely like gave me the edge to beat the Altergeist. So that was it for the main deck.
40 cards?
40 cards. Always want to draw the swaps.
Alright.
So then the extra deck, which was like nearly flawless, except maybe the cherry targets. I made every single card in here at least once. 2 Starboy. I had to cut it down because the extra deck is just so tight right now. But this card's so good. I think at least 10, maybe 11 games, it's double Starboy Toad or double Starboy Anomaclaris attack for game. Then you play these 2 guys. They're actually amazing. They are linked to monsters, obviously, that can now clear back row. You don't need the Paleo cards to clear back row or monsters anymore that are too big. You don't need to search a Dinomischus or you don't need to search an Olenoids. You can link 2 and do that, which is really awesome. The problem with that, though, is sometimes you have to make these in your extra monster zone, and clearly they don't point down, and I don't play any generic link monsters. So what I did to cover that was I played Mermaid, and this card was crazy all day because once you use these guys and get their utility off the board, you can link 1 summon them into Mermaid, and it points down, so that's obviously really good. It's also a water, so we can make the Starboy plays. And most important thing is that it's a link 1 that requires a Nightmare monster, so if your opponent tries to I-block you, it instantly outdates the I-block, and they basically just give you like almost a 7th card to play with an extra link monster that points down, and again it's a water, which is super relevant in this deck. This is the best card. This is the reason the deck's a deck. We played 1 Anomaclaris and 1 Opabinia. I used to play 2 Opabinia, but like I said, the extra deck's just so tight now with all the Nightmares going in. I made Opabinia probably 3 or 4 times, and I actually made this a lot more than I usually do. You normally see this once or twice per tournament. I think I made him like 4 times. It was just super crucial to like go into double Starboy, and sometimes they would have a monster that I needed to clear over for game, and if I couldn't make the links and still have appropriate zones to summon my monsters, it would be an Anomaclaris for game. And then we have the 2 generic link 2s. This is great in getting monsters effect, putting 0, help you attack for game. And this is a non-destruction, non-targeting removal, so that's always good. Sometimes you can bounce your game seals and kaiju them twice. And then I played 3 cherry targets, obviously Electromite. And both of these decks got a lot of help from the Nightmares being released. And there was so much of both of these at the regional. I know ABC topped for sure, I believe top 4, and I don't think any Spirals topped, but there were so many of them. I know I saw it, like round 6 and 7, they were all over the top tables. So even though I didn't see these decks, I think it was definitely fine to have them as the cherry targets.
Alright.
And then for the side, we played the 3 cherries, obviously. 3 Gamma Seal, super important for going second against Masterpiece. I think that was the only time that I sided this was against True Draco. 3 Anti-Spell, always been a staple as long as Paleo's been a deck, either in the main or side. Covers tons of matchups. 3 Evenly, because sometimes Kaijuing a Masterpiece isn't enough. If they like are resolving multiple demises and I can't get their diagram off board, there's no way I'm going to outgrind them with them popping my spells and traps every turn. It's also super good against Altergeist, which again I thought I'd see a lot of. And then definitely the best card in my side deck was Triple Wiretap. I was pretty sure most people would play Red Reboot because upon reading that card, it's insane. I don't know how they printed a card that just shut down back row decks so hard. So I needed something to out the Red Reboot. Luckily, I have 3 of this and then the Judgment, so I did technically have more copies to negate it than they had copies of it. It was really good against Altergeist. That deck is it's really good. So this is crazy because to summon Multi-Faker, they need to activate a trap, and this negates the activation of a trap. So not only do they not get to summon their Multi-Faker, it shuffles a trap back in deck, so they're not going to get any of the Grave Effect utilities.
All right.
And then round 8, playing against Draco, I wiretapped a Storming and attacked for game, so that was really clutch.
I'll say a blast from the past.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, any shout-outs or anything?
Oh man, I have tons. First, shout out to my daughter Lily. She's the coolest person in the world. Then shout out to GG, Team GG, Chong and Andrew. They definitely helped me build this deck. That was really helpful. Shout out to Sunny and Brandon, the vendors at GG, the best vendors in the States by far. They sell for the lowest, buy for the highest. Go to them if you need anything, guys. Shout out to my car, shout out to Phil and Alec. It was Alec's idea to play the Mermaid, which it was just such a great idea to out the Ib and out my own guys from being in the extra monster zone. Shout out to Jabron, who loaned me some cards, and Josh Stice. Shout out to Richard, Tim, and Charles, Team RIW. They always keep me in the loop because I'm out for a while. I've been out of the game for a while, so they always keep me in the loop about which decks are going to be best and like what decks I need to play and stuff. Shout out to Alec, Hunter, and Ryan, my favorite fuck boys. And I think that's it, man.
All right. Congrats on, what was it, top 8?
Yeah, top 8.
All right, congrats, and hopefully you top some more.
Thank you, man.